All right, you guys. So it is Tuesday, the 8th of September. I hope you guys had a great Labor Day. So tonight, we're going to run through some information building on what we talked about last week, which was sponsoring and growing our team. So we talked a lot about sort of your mindset, where you're coming from. And so tonight, we're going to talk a little bit more basically on how to share the business in a way that's a little bit more comfortable, okay? So basically, we have 3 challenges when it comes to sharing the business, 3 things that can potentially get in our way. So I hope you have a pen and some paper. Number 1, simply not having confidence either in yourself or in the business. Maybe you're new enough that you just aren't sure, what to say. You just don't have the confidence with it. Number 2, basically, you don't know what to say. Sometimes it can be where you literally have no idea how to describe it to someone, or it can be the opposite, where you have diarrhea of the mouth and you just like go off and tell everybody everything, and it becomes sort of that overwhelming, like, oh wow, right? Like people just immediately push away because it's just too much to process. And so excitement and enthusiasm is wonderful, but that vomiting information on people is not quite what we want, right? So that's the second challenge. And then the third challenge is what? Finding people to talk to, right? Knowing who to share this with. So through what I'm going to share with you, we're going to sort of knock down some of these potential challenges, okay? So really, we have to think about, what are people struggling with? Now, a lot of us being Beachbody coaches, we immediately go to, people need to be product of the product, and they must have a physical need or a health or fitness need or a weight loss need. And oftentimes they do. So I'm not discounting that. That's very much a possibility. But you know what? That may not necessarily be what you speak to someone about. Perhaps there's someone who is already fit. Perhaps there's someone who is already, maybe they are, a doctor, or maybe they already are a fitness instructor or personal trainer, or somebody who naturally is fit, just lives that lifestyle. Maybe they're a banker, but they just naturally love fitness and live that lifestyle. So would you come to them and ask them a bazillion questions about their health and fitness, and do you really want to lose like 2 more pounds, or you know what I mean? Are you going to hit that angle with those types of people? Not necessarily. And I heard Christine Dwyer talk about this before, where she said, you might meet somebody and maybe they lost 100 pounds on Nutrisystem. Oftentimes when people lose weight in other ways that we as coaches are educated and already know that's not necessarily the healthiest way, you're not going to bash what they've done. But we know oftentimes when people get off those types of foods and or get off, a certain kind of unhealthy regimen, that oftentimes the weight will come back. And so that may very well be something that eventually you can head up in helping keep them healthy by doing some healthier things, drinking Shakeology, doing a great workout program, and all that. But oftentimes it can be, do they dislike what they're doing? And it might be like, so many of us would look at someone and go, oh, they have 4 kids, they don't have time. Or she's married to a doctor, they don't need any money. They live in a mansion. How dare we decide for someone? I mean, and we do that to what? Protect ourselves, right? We do that because we don't want rejection. But what we're doing is being pushy. We're making that decision for someone when indeed, maybe that doctor's wife has nothing to do. Maybe she wants to contribute in a way that she feels like she's giving back to society, or she's giving, being able to give or provide something to her family so that, she has that sense of self-worth. It could be that it's a working mom who has a great career as a lawyer, but maybe she hates her schedule. She's never at her kids' games, and maybe she just wants to have flexibility. It may not even be that she hates what she does, or he. It could just be they don't like the schedule. or the fact that they don't have a flexible schedule enough to allow them to be with their family more often. So I guess my point is, really, as you're asking questions, the key is asking the right questions and really digging deep into that person's life and not always hitting them from the losing weight angle, because they can come from a point where they have already succeeded or almost are to their goal. And maybe they didn't get there with Beachbody. But what Beachbody can be for them is a vehicle to give back and help other people in a way they couldn't do with, say, said company like Nutrisystem or whatever. They can become more educated and really be that connector for other people to provide them ways to get healthy and to be able to make an income from that. So sometimes we just need to ask more questions and not assume that we know what that person needs, or we know how that option might benefit them. Okay. So a demeanor to take when you're talking to someone about the business. Sorry, I have a fuzzy on my lip and it's sticking to my lip gloss. There we go. Sorry. A good demeanor to have is a nonchalant demeanor, because sometimes what we portray to people is a sense of desperation. We might think that it's excitement and, yourself, you're going for some Success Club point goals and we're trying to get things going in the business. You've got bills to pay. And it's really easy to lose track of focusing on them, and we're looking at them in fulfilling our goals, and we create that desperation sense. And it's like people are animals in the way that they sense that. They sense that desperation from us, and it causes them to push away. So what you want to really think about, you want to have I don't care what you do, you can do it or not, I'm going to talk to people regardless type of attitude. Now, you're not going to say that to them. You're not going to say, I don't care what you do. But you have that nonchalant, I would love for you to watch this. This may be something for you, might not be for you. It's how you say what you say that oftentimes takes them, I guess it lets them be at ease, because they know you're not jamming it down their throat, that you're really giving them the option, but it's up to them. You're not going to push it on them. And I think when we have that attitude, even with challengers, I think that it puts them in the driver's seat, and they're much more likely to eventually, if not right away, say yes, because they feel comfortable and they don't feel pushed. It's their decision. You are there to help them, and they feel that. And that just goes over so much better. So again, don't decide for them what they'll do with the business or what they'll like. Let them decide, okay? Now, a way you can do this, and a way you can work with these people, if you've got some people on your list that you, in the back of your mind, think these guys would be great, or this person, this woman, this guy would be awesome. But what you want to do to sort of get a background of how you're going to approach them is, quote unquote, spy on them on Facebook, or kind of stalk them a little bit on Facebook. Not in a weird way. I say that with a grain of salt. You want to look at what they're doing, be interested in their life, like some of their posts, maybe comment, intelligently on some of their posts, and just sort of have a presence in their life in a non-creepy way. And then that way, when the time comes for you to reach out to them in a private message, it's not weird, because you're already in their wheelhouse. You're already in their peripheral vision in a way that's supportive, and you're liking some things they're doing, you're making some valuable comments, and it just is a natural flow of things. Okay? And then that way, when you have a conversation, you have intelligent things to talk about, because you know a little bit about what their life is like right now. Okay? So like I said a minute ago, I want to reiterate, questions that you ask will help you know how to share the business, all right? Or exactly what vision you're going to share with them. Because if you're talking about health and fitness and product of the product, and they're already there, and their thing might be that they want to have, a couple extra bucks, I don't know, to pay for, save for college or to pay off a credit card. I mean, if you don't know where they're coming from, you may share a vision with them that they're not interested in. You know what I mean? You may get there and say, oh, you'd make the greatest coach ever. You know so much about fitness and you would inspire all these people. Maybe that person is really not interested in creating a business at that point where they're inspiring people. Maybe that freaks them out, right? Maybe all of a sudden they're going, I don't want to do that. All I wanted to do was pay for my Shakeology. So the more you get to know about them, watching them, and then getting into a conversation, you'll know, just like with challengers, you'll know what direction to steer them, because you're going to share a solution for a problem they have. So if losing 50 pounds is not a problem they have, you're not going to talk a whole lot about that. You're going to provide a solution to what their need is. And Beachbody can provide solutions for a lot of things, but it's how you share it is going to mean something to that person that's listening. And you could talk to 4 or 5 different people and have 4 or 5 different stories to share, all true, but different angles depending on where that person's need is. So does that make sense? Does anyone have a question about that at all? I know I've kind of been hitting that, but I guess again, people don't always, and I know we hammer product of the product. Absolutely. You have to be product of the product to truly share, your experience, your story. But the thing is, they can become a product of the product and use Beachbody as a system. That's all Beachbody is a good system, a great system. But people can come in with the desire to make money or to do this or to do that and learn the system, right? That's very possible as well. So don't limit it to only your challengers. You may very well have people in your life that would and could benefit from Beachbody as a business, and they could learn the system simply from where they're at this point in their life. And they don't always have to lose 20 pounds or 100 pounds. Okay, moving on. So who are you talking to? All right. So first of all, especially if you're newer in the business, you can't get away from talking to what we would call your warm market, your friends and family. All right. You just can't get away from that. So that's your first group of people. And again, how you talk to them matters. If you have I don't care if you do it, I'd love for you to do it, but that's up to you, kind of attitude, you're going to have some like Christine. I've heard Christine Dwyer say, she's got I think 3 or 4 sisters, and several of them do it. She says one of them gives her product away. She buys it and gives it away. And she's like, it just ticks Christine off terribly. Like they just don't run the business. Carl Deichler, our CEO, his brother has not been successful as a coach. So, you just kind of put it out there and let people do with it as they please. Not everyone is going to be a Christine Dwyer, and that's okay. That's okay. Second, what we call going through them, which means referrals. You're going through people that you already know into people that they know that you don't. Okay? So there's 3 different ways. Write this down. And this kind of comes from GoPro, if you've read that. If you haven't, I recommend it. It is a more traditional network marketing, so it's not that everything is necessarily golden, but we can definitely use some of these nuggets. And so this is the part of what I'm going to present to you tonight. So the first way is to present to them or ask them for referrals. So somebody that, whether they've done the product, done a challenge group with you or not, you can say, hey, do you know of anyone who's really trying to lose maybe 20 pounds or whatever your niche is, if it's 50, if it's 10, whatever it is that you tend to lean toward, ask them, do you know of anyone who could really use this and this would be a real benefit to them, that you can connect me to, okay? The second way is actually not even asking them personally, but just asking them for referrals right off the bat. And oftentimes what this does is it kind of kills two birds with one stone, because you're kind of going through them and asking for a referral. But sometimes this irritates people because they're like, well, why aren't they asking me? Why don't they think I would be good at this? So sometimes by doing that indirect approach where you're asking for a referral before you say, hey, this may not be, if this isn't for you, do you know of somebody that it is for? Maybe you don't even say anything about them and say, hey, do you know of anyone? And so oftentimes then they get curious and want to know more about it themselves, simply because you asked sort of and went around them. And then the third way is to be, I hate to use the word aggressive, sort of assertive with your conversations on social media and in person. And so really what that is that's a whole nother topic, but really using social media to build up who you talk to. And that's something we're going to get into a lot more in our training group together, is definitely using social media. But that's the third way. All right. So your referrals would be like your present people that you're talking to, asking them for referrals and going around them. And then the third would be social media. Okay. Now, one little caveat to talking to people, whether it's in person or even social media. I don't know if any of you tell yourselves this, but oftentimes people say, I can't talk about this to people because I'm shy. Or, I'm afraid of what someone will say about me, or they'll think I'm salesy, or I just don't like to talk to people. I can do it behind a screen, but I can't talk to people, or whatever it is. You're telling yourself these negative, statements that you are. And the thing is, you need to stop saying those negative things to yourself and stop accepting the fact that you're shy or you're, whatever, introverted, and tell yourself that you can. Because the more you say, I can't, you're reinforcing that whole idea of what you don't want. Whereas if you say words of affirmation that I can do this, I can practice talking to people, it's a skill, and I can improve. And because you do over and over again, you eradicate fear. The fear goes away. What you do over and over again, then the fear is taken out of it. So that's something that, you can get started with. And if you really are absolutely deathly terrified to speak to people, one easy way to just start is to just chit chat. Get used to just chatting with people with nothing sort of behind the scenes, like you're not after them for anything. You just smile at people. Because so many people, what do they do when they walk by? Head down, no eye contact, because they don't want to be rejected, right? They don't want to be the first person to smile. So always be that first person to smile and say, hey, how's your day? Or good to see you, or nice to meet you, or whatever. You can strike up a conversation with absolutely no ulterior motive except to practice being open and not shy. And believe it or not, it starts to come easier and easier and easier. Okay? So be the person who says hi first. All right? Make that a goal this week if it's not already something that you do. Okay. Something that can be good to start to open up your network. If you have a spare few seconds here and there, something that Christine Dwyer has said is follow people who follow your favorite companies. So if you're somebody who likes Lululemon, or somebody who likes Nike, or I don't know, any company that you really like on social media, follow some of their followers. Look at their profiles, and if they seem like they'd be somebody kind of cool to connect with, start doing that. Because slowly you'll start to make connections back and forth because you have something in common. All right. Now, another thing, reaching out to people. Obviously, we want to do it one at a time. Those group messages, right, never work. You never want to group message people. You want to do it one-on-one, preferably by doing it by phone. And I know a lot of us, we hate the phone, right? Like we'd only use the phone to text. Or like on social media, we do not use the phone to call prospects. We just don't. And if that really is kind of like, oh, I don't think I can do that, you can actually create a video that says something, in the way of, hey, oh my gosh, we haven't chatted in a long time. I've been thinking about you, and, go on with your conversation. And you can create a short 1-minute video that would work for several people. So you're not saying, hey, Jackie, I haven't, seen you in a long time. But you can say it in a way that it feels like you're talking to them. And you are, but it's a video that if you wanted to share it with 10 people, you don't have to do 10 different videos, right? Because it's the same demographic, the same kind of thing, someone you haven't talked to, someone you want to reach out to. And you can do that because that's so much more personal, isn't it, than just a written note, or on, especially on Facebook, just a private message. It can be more uncomfortable, but it might be easier than, on the phone. So think of that as a way to start reaching out. And if you're really not sure about that, you can start with the little voice app that's in the Facebook messages. And you can't do it on your computer, but you can do it on your phone. And it's a little microphone in the private messages, and you can hold it down and you can do 60-second messages at a time. So those are wonderful. I like to do those even with coaches when I have a message to give them. Sometimes it's just real quick and they hear your voice. It's just that personal connection. Okay, so when you look at your team, now some of you, I'm trying to think, really at this point don't have a whole lot of team, but that doesn't matter. I still want to share this. Thinking about what does your team want? And this is going to be something I'm going to be asking of you guys. Is your business something that's more social? Some people just want to belong. They just want to have friends. They just want to have that support system around them. And that might be why they're a coach. I do know coaches like that. Is it a business for them? What's your pace? Do you want to be a diamond in a month? Do you want to be a diamond by the end of the year? Do you want to be an elite coach next year? What's your pace? And that's going to vary from person to person. Asking questions. Are you a discount coach? What's your motivation? And a lot of times I have in the past and will from time to time do fun little contests and things like that. But you know what? Oftentimes products and money aren't motivation for someone, Sometimes just spending time with your upline or with your team, sometimes that in itself is great motivation because they want that camaraderie. Okay. So these are things to think about even for yourself. Why are you in the business? Think about what you like about it. All right. And so basically you want to be, and we've talked about this before, but just to finish up, just a final thought on social media, as you're building your business there, you want to think about how you can stand out and be unique. Be yourself. We can look and learn from other successful people. That is always a good thing. But you want to keep in mind that your uniqueness, what makes you you, is going to bring the right type of people, your demographic, your niche, to you. And people who aren't connecting with you will fall away. We talked a little bit about that last week, right? So that's super important. So what draws people to you? Okay, so this is my last point. Consistency in posting, consistency in messaging. If someone writes you, you write back. You don't forget and leave it for 2 weeks. Posting things like, a short video clip of a workout. Maybe if you did a workout and you just showed like 5 seconds of a move you did, we do a lot of selfies and things like that, and those are fine. But again, listen to a lot of what Christine Dwyer says, because she's extremely successful. And she says she would rather see some content, so like a move that you've learned, or like if you're doing size, part of the routine, or maybe the routine once through, over a sweaty workout pic on your face page, your profile page. I don't think there's anything wrong with that from time to time, but she said always, 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 my next point, offer value, okay? You always want to offer value. So is posting a sweaty selfie offering value? Maybe if you have a tip there and that just happens to be your graphic, but that's something you always want to ask yourself. Is this post offering some sort of value? Is it sharing a part of who I am? Is it giving them a tip that'll help them? It might not even be health and fitness related. You may have found a great deal at the store and you want to share, So it doesn't always have to be health and fitness, just something about you that your demographic would find valuable, okay? So let's see, sharing other people's content that the people following you would see as valuable. And And then, of course, if you find that golden egg, if you find something that does really, really well, I mean, if you've got it on your like page, boost it. You know, make the most of it. Get yourself in front of more and more people, because again, what that's going to do is just simply spread your network, so that as you're posting and creating that brand, people will remember you. And again, you'll start to really hone in on your niche, and you'll start to draw in those followers. Okay, so that's basically it. And then again, what's going to help you grow as well, I'm talking to the choir, but you guys are here, and it's plugging into team calls. That's really what it is. I'm disappointed more people aren't here tonight, but you know, you guys are here, and I'm thankful you're here, and I'm going to do this call regardless of who's here. And I'm just really proud of you guys, because you know, this is where you're going to continue to grow. I mean, these are short calls, but I think if you start to even just take one or two things from each call and actually implement it into your business plan, into what you do daily on Facebook, and how you put yourself out there and how you speak to people, little things here and there, it's the compound effect, right? They just add up over time. So very, very thankful you guys are on. Do you guys have any questions at this point? Or anything to add? Anything maybe that popped in your head as I was talking that you wanted to share? No? You guys are like so quiet. Unlike my children. Is there something in particular? I do have, just so you know, Jenny Swisher is going to do a call for us, but she can't do it live. So I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after. We will have a call with Jenny, but it'll be a recorded call. So whatever night that is, I'll let you know. And then you guys can just watch it at your leisure that particular week. I'm hoping I'll have Tracy on a call, and then I'm hoping Ophi. So I've got some guest speakers lined up here in the next few weeks. Just because it's nice to hear from other leaders and to get fresh ideas, and it's just fun to hear other people's voices. So, and then I'm ready for you guys anytime for you guys to start stepping up and share something that's working for you. You don't have to be in the business 5 years to feel like, you've got something to offer. If you've got something that's working well, I'm totally, let me know, and I can give you the mic for sure, and you guys can share with the team. So, all right, you guys, I will let you go if there aren't any questions. All right. Well, then you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and stay tuned. I'll get the group up and running the end of this week, and you'll be ready then to hit the ground running on Monday with our new Break Your Rank group. Okay? All right, you guys, thanks again for showing up, and I will talk to you soon.